everyone, today we're finally getting to review a Ford Ranger. The Ranger returned to the US market for the 2019 model year. The one behind me here is a 2020 model. It is fully loaded, so it's the top spec Lariat trim. The Ranger's offered in 3 trims. You've got XL, XLT, and Lariat. So the Lariat adds like luxury features and an upgraded audio system. This one also has the FX4 package, which adds an off-road suspension, some underbody skid plates, all-terrain tires, different terrain modes, and a few other little things. This one also has a locking rear differential, which is a standalone option on the Ranger, which is pretty cool. Every Ranger comes with a 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It puts out 270 horsepower and 310 pounds-feet of torque, and that is paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission. In my opinion, this is the best powertrain in the midsize pickup segment. Makes pretty good power, decent fuel economy, and the 10-speed automatic transmission is really nice. Altogether, the Ranger is a pretty impressive offering. The Ranger sold in the US is pretty heavily based on the Ranger that was developed for use in Australia, meaning that this thing is pretty heavy duty. It's got a fully boxed frame. It's got a very impressive payload capacity. It's got a really simple steel bed that has a lot of volume to it. And in prepping this thing for sale in the US market, Ford added a lot of nice features like active safety tech. It's got a tow haul mode, parking sensors, start stop. So let's do a quick tour of the Ranger and then take it on a little drive. It's pretty snowy here today, so it'll be a snow review, but either way, let's check it out. Styling on the Ranger is pretty subtle. It's not as blocky as some of its competitors like the Toyota Tacoma. This fully loaded Lariat model comes with LED lighting up front. It's also got a black trim package, so black grille, black wheels, black chin area here. Steel bumpers on this thing, which is very cool. Here's your Ranger and Lariat badging on the fender here. Again, that's all blacked out. Mirrors are blacked out. This one has running boards. Like I said, all-terrain tires, but they're a very mild all-terrain. These are Hankook Dynapro ATMs. So if you plan to do consistent off-roading, I'd probably change these out for something a little bit more aggressive. Around back, you can see the Ranger wears a stamped tailgate. It has Ranger stamped into it there. The bed on this thing is pretty deep. The Ranger sold here in the US was originally designed for the Australian market. Went on sale in Australia and in other foreign markets back for, I think, the 2012 model year. So this thing's a little bit heavier duty than what we're used to here in the US. You compare this thing to something like a Toyota Tacoma, and the Ranger has a fully boxed frame. The Tacoma's frame is not fully boxed, and the Ranger actually betters the Tacoma if we're going to look at crew cab, 5-foot bed, 4-wheel drive models. The Ranger offers 450 pounds of additional payload capacity when compared to the Tacoma. And that is very, very significant, especially in this age of overlanding modifications. You're going to be able to add a lot more stuff to a Ranger before you push up on that maximum payload capacity than you would a Tacoma. And I think we'll touch on that a little bit later. But as for the Ranger's bed, one thing you'll notice is this tailgate is not damped. I'm pretty surprised. Check this out. That's just a old school heavy tailgate on a hinge here. It slams down. Either way, this one has this Ford accessory tonneau cover. You open it, you get this, pull on this steel cable to get it to release, and then this is pretty clever. You can clip it down here. So there you go. Much better quality than the hard tonneau cover that was on the Ram 1500 Rebel I reviewed earlier this year. It's just, yeah, that one was kind of coming apart right here. This looks to be pretty decent quality. So if you want one of these, I think this Ford accessory hard tonneau cover is probably pretty good. Anyway, the bed on this is completely steel. The Tacoma and the Honda Ridgeline use a composite bed, so a little bit lighter duty. This thing, steel box. This one has a spray-in bed liner. That is something that you'll probably want to do to a Ranger. The Tacoma doesn't need a bed liner, which is kind of neat because it's that composite material. Ranger, though, you'll want to spray in. You can get it from Ford, or you can get it via an aftermarket company, and they'll usually offer a slightly better warranty. That's kind of a pro tip right there. Ford logo's embossed into the bulkhead there. Not a whole lot else to see. This is a $46,000 truck, and it does not have a power outlet in the bed. The Tacoma's power outlet came in handy on a recent trip I did. I was able to use it to power a small refrigerator that we brought along with us. Wouldn't have been able to do that in the Ranger here. As for the interior, this one has Ford's famous keypad that would allow you to get in the vehicle even if you didn't have the key in your pocket. Climbing inside here, like I said, this is the Lariat model, so it's fully loaded, it has leather, it has a Bang & Olufsen sound system, it's got the biggest infotainment screen you can get in the Ranger. Screens in the gauge cluster are nice. So over here you've got fuel economy and other information about the vehicle, and then on this side you've got information like media, navigation, other infotainment related items, and then in the middle there's a speedometer here. So this thing is definitely loaded with features. It's very well equipped, but materials quality is pretty utilitarian. Most of these midsize trucks are very utilitarian. All of them are. Midsize truck makers don't really give you more than they need to with regard to comfort features and just build quality and fit and finish within the interior. This interior doesn't feel totally cheap. I mean, it feels modern, but it is really, really heavy on the black plastic. And I noticed like this center console will really flex if I just kind of push on it. Content and substance is there. Just the touch points could be a little bit better in here, but that's really my only criticism of the Ranger. Infotainment system is pretty good. Down here, you've got your different four-wheel drive settings. So right now we're in 2 high. You can shift into 4 high on the fly. You can also go into 4 low, but you've got to put the truck in neutral, just like on every other truck with low range. Here you've got trail modes, so we'll go into 4 high. And then press the TM button right here. And we've got normal, grass, gravel, snow, mud and ruts, and then a sand mode. Just ahead of the four-wheel drive controls, you've got another bank of switches here. You've got Ford's trail control system. You've got on-off functionality for the start-stop system. Here's your button for the rear locking differential. This button turns stability control off. This button turns the parking sensors on and off. And right here, the Ranger even has a tow haul mode. 2 12-volt outlets. That's nice to have 2 up here. And there's also 2 USB ports. Decent storage on the center console. There's this tray right here and then 2 cup holders. Could be a little bit better. I feel like they probably could have made better use of this space right here. Center console storage box is a little bit small. It's about as deep as you'd expect. Not super deep, not super shallow. Parking brake, shifter. Here are your buttons to shift manually. So plus, minus, shift up, shift down. Let's hop in the back seat. So back here, you've got 2 more USB ports. I know you can't really see. And then there's even a 110 volt AC power adapter with 3 prongs. It's nice. Seating back here, not super spacious. My knees are almost in the seat in front of me. I could tolerate this. I could tolerate this for a 4-hour trip. It would be pretty easy with 2 people back here. With 3, it might get a little bit snug, but even then, it's not awful. Armrest folds down, has 2 cup holders in it. I know it's pretty dark back here. Rear window slides open. It's not power operated like it is in the Tacoma, but it still opens. Grab handles, overhead light. There you go. Okay, taking the Ranger for a drive. A little bit of snow on my street. I mean, why not? Let's go. We are in 4 high. And we'll go into grass, gravel, snow mode. I really like the powertrain in this thing. It leaves very little to be desired. The Ranger's top competitor would be the Toyota Tacoma. And that vehicle has an awful powertrain. 6-speed automatic in the Tacoma is just terrible. Anyone will tell you. There are ways to manipulate the shift lever between sport mode and Toyota's power button for their transmission, but yeah, it shouldn't be like that. This vehicle has a very competent and actually, dare I say, impressive powertrain. There's 50. Relatively quick. It's not fast. None of these midsize trucks are fast, but 270 horsepower, 310 pounds-feet of torque, 10-speed automatic. And key there is that everything's tuned pretty well. Transmission's programmed well, turbochargers programmed pretty well. That low-end torque comes on pretty low in the rev range, so that's nice. It drives like a truck. Suspension feels pretty good. I just drove over some potholes there. Unfortunately, with all this snow, I didn't have a chance to off-road this thing this weekend, because anywhere I went would have just been covered in snow, and in snow you pretty much just immediately get stuck, and it's no fun. So other than a snowy parking lot, I didn't really get to test out the off-road capability of the Ranger here. But I've driven it plenty on-road. It's convenient, it's relatively comfortable, ride is decent, powertrain doesn't bother me, and again, I say that because the powertrain in some of these other mid-sized trucks is rather bothersome. Plenty of different buttons and truck stuff, like that tow haul mode I keep coming back to. That feels like a really nice extra that you get with the Ranger that you won't get with the Tacoma. Okay, we're back on some snowy back roads here, so good thing we're still in snow mode and 4 high. One thing I really like that Ford is doing with the Ranger is the way they're packaging it. To go back to the Tacoma and what had previously been the standard for this segment, in order to get things like a locking rear differential, Toyota's crawl control and multi-terrain select modes, the off-road suspension, some skid plates, the basic formula of an off-road oriented midsize truck, you have to get, at the very least, the Tacoma's TRD off-road trim level, which is pretty much the second from the top. There's also the Tacoma TRD Pro, but those are the only two that you can get with a locking rear differential and crawl control, things like that. The Ranger here, you can get a base XL model, which is pretty much base. It comes with virtually nothing. And then you can check the box for the FX4 package and the locking rear differential, and you've got a, I think it's, with 4-wheel drive, I think it's around $33,000, and you get a Ranger that is as off-road capable as a Ranger can be from Ford without having to move up in trim levels and pay for things that you don't want. Ford will also be doing that with the new Bronco, which should make things interesting for Jeep, given that the Wrangler is treated the same way. In order to get front and rear lockers in the Wrangler, you have to get the Rubicon model, but with the Bronco, you can get a base trim with the Sasquatch package, and you've got front and rear lockers and a bunch of other off-road features there. So Ford, with their midsize 4x4s, is really aiming to disrupt the small 4x4 market here in the US. Steering wheel's pretty nice, leather wrapped, fairly squishy. Again, it's not the highest end leather, but for a midsize truck, it's about all you could ask for. Hit a speed bump here. Wow, I thought it was gonna buck, but it didn't. Another one. Wow, no, it didn't buck at all. The Tacoma TRD Pro, I'm pretty sure the back wheels came up off the road when I hit these speed bumps. One more. That's impressive. This thing is, I'm gonna say, much more civil than the Tacoma. So there is your look at the new Ford Ranger. It's still relatively new. I really like this truck. I think as far as the mid-size segment goes, the Ranger gives you all the basics. It's got really impressive powertrain, great towing capacity, class-leading payload capacity, which we'll get to in a moment here. And then the way Ford has packaged it, you can get a base model with the off-road stuff, which is what a lot of people want but can't get from Toyota or from Jeep. Then just the basic things that it does have. It has standard active safety tech. You can get it with tow haul. It's got trail modes. It's got everything you could want, and you're able to package it in a way that makes financial sense for you, which can't be said for the competition. Back to that payload figure. We live in an era where overlanding and building your vehicle up for adventure travel is super, super popular. Tacoma is the most popular vehicle when it comes to that stuff, but the thing with the Tacoma is it has too low of a payload capacity to really accept those modifications and remain at a safe vehicle weight. The Ranger here offers 450 pounds of additional payload capacity versus the Tacoma. So with any of these trucks, say you want to add a bumper, sliders, rear bumper, bigger tires, a cap, a rooftop tent, auxiliary lights, drawers in the bed, all that stuff, you're going to be approaching the payload capacity of a Tacoma with those mods much sooner than you will the Ranger. Then you figure you go on a camping trip, you load yourself and 3 friends in the vehicle, all your gear. You're going to be pushing the payload capacity of a modified Tacoma much, much sooner than you would be on a modified Ranger. And for that reason and all the others that I mentioned, I think the Ranger is probably the best midsize pickup on sale today. Thanks for watching.